Now that we have our photos on our computer to use on our calendar project, the next step is opening InDesign. So you have a couple of options on doing that. On the bottom left-hand corner, you are going to find your magnifier glass and you're going to type in InDesign, and you can go ahead and click on that here. Another way to do that is to access the calendar project file in your InDesign folder, and you can open it from there. So either way will work out fine. Since I already have this here, I'm going to go ahead and click on InDesign. I'm going to go ahead and wait for that to load up. And once that loads, I'm going to also have a couple of options on how to open it. So if your screen looks like this, you can click on Open. If you don't see anything on your screen here, you're going to go to File and Open. And now I'm going to go ahead and look for my file, which is my InDesign file in my documents. So go to InDesign, and here's my file, and I'm going to go ahead, double click that and open it. And now I have my template for my calendar project. So our main focus for this video is how to place a photo in a frame. So notice there are guidelines already on our calendar template. And these guidelines are showing us the different sections that we see on our calendar here. So the first thing I want to do is choose a month that I want to place a photo in. You don't have to go in order. You can always just start wherever you want. So you're going to decide what photos will go in which section. So I'll just go ahead and start with January. Now, if at any point you want to see your calendar as a whole, you're going to hold down on Control and 0. That's going to show the entire template. So once again, that's Control 0. Now, if you want to zoom in, you're going to hold down on Control and the plus key. You can zoom in on any section of your calendar template. To zoom out, you're going to hold down on Control and the hyphen or minus. Okay, so I'm going to hold down on Control and the plus key just so I can zoom in on the month of January. So what I did, I selected my frame, and notice frames have an X through it when you create it. The idea of a frame is to keep the photograph contained inside of that space. So whenever I place a photo in here, it's not going to show outside of the outline. Now, the way to place a photo in here, you're going to hold down on Control and D, D as in dog. And now I can look for my photo, which is in my Documents InDesign folder. So I'm going to click on Documents, go to InDesign, and there's the photo that I want to work with, and I'll click Open. So here's my photograph that I'm going to use. Now, for this photograph, it does appear pixelated, but at the end of creating the calendar, we'll go ahead and clean it up so it doesn't look pixelated. But for now, we'll just leave it as is. What I have on my video, though, it's not showing all of the content that I have in the photograph. So to fix that, I'm going to right-click on the photo. I will go to Fitting and Fill Frame Proportionally. So now I can see that there's more content inside of this photograph. If I want to move it around inside of that frame, I'm just going to hover over these circles in the center, and until I see this hand icon, I'm going to click and drag it left or right. So notice now I can see what else is in this photograph. So maybe I want to move it to the right this way. Maybe I want to move it to the left this way. But it's all dependent on what your preference is for the for this section of the month. Okay, so maybe I want 3 subjects showing in the photograph. All right. Now, you can also change the size. So notice when I drag it, you can see that it is a landscape photo, and I'm placing it in a portrait area. So let's say that I want to keep my photographs landscape. So I want the photograph to appear above the numbers. The only thing you have to watch out for is the color of the text. So right now, if you look on the right side on February, you don't see the days of the month. It's because it's in white. So when you place photographs above the calendar numbers and days of the week, that's going to disappear. But later on, I will show you how you can change the color of the font. Okay, so let's say that you do want to show more of a landscape photo. What you will do is double click on the photo. So it shows the outline of this photo. It shows you how big it is compared to the frame that you're working with. To change it, you're going to hover over one of these handlebars and make sure that you hold down on Shift as you drag your photo to the size that you want it to be. So I'm going to line it up and make sure it's the size that I want to work with as far as keeping it as landscape as possible. Obviously, there's going to be some of the photo on the outside, but that's okay. And then this is what is going to be contained in my frame, right? So now I can see more of what's going on in the photograph because I used a landscape photo. Always make sure to hold down on Shift whenever you are resizing your photo, because what happens, right now I'm not holding down on Shift, and let's say I stretch it out this way, it will make the subjects out of proportion, and it's really, really important to keep it in proportion so it'll look good for your project. Okay, but I do prefer that you try your best to take up the space. So let me hold down on Shift and make that larger. So I do prefer that the photograph does show up behind the numbers and the days of the week. So it takes up that space and you can see your photograph on there.